Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. We have got smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Okay, now we'll go. We have got to talk about the difference we've seen from Caitlin Clark since that Connecticut Sun game. I think she is partly sick, but there are also a lot of other issues going on. She's been a completely different player. And I don't mean just missing the threes. There is no fire there. There's no arguing with the officials. There's no getting the crowd revved up. It seems like she's almost checked out, resigned herself to being less than in order to please a coach that wants to take away Caitlin Clark's strengths. I don't know how else to describe it at this point. As you can see in this picture, I saw this. I want to share this because this just gave me flashbacks to early last season. Now, of course, Christy Sides doesn't have the ego that Stephanie White does, and she recognized what was going on and basically eventually post break gave Caitlin Clark the keys and said, "Do your thing." But does Caitlin Clark look okay? And Steph yelling in her ear, nope, absolutely, she does not look okay. And I want to start with this because this I think kind of is as good as an example on the court as you're going to get as to what the problem is and what has happened with the coaching and the system that they want to force on Caitlin Clark. I don't think I've ever seen this. Maybe early last season when she was trying to win over her teammates and letting them know that she's not going to just chuck up 40 shots a game. And that is as easy a look as Caitlin Clark, open a look as Caitlin Clark will ever get from three, and instead she passes it up and turns the ball over. And to me, this turnover is 100% on Steph. Look at her, folks. Look at that. She doesn't have a player, a defender in her zip code right there. She's squared up. This is a practice three and she makes about 99% of her practice threes. There's absolutely no reason not to shoot this basketball, and yet she doesn't. And then she throws an ill-advised pass, and we can say, "Oh, well, yeah, that's on Caitlin Clark. She's the one that made the decision." Absolutely. But anyone who's played enough and has had situations with coaches where they're trying to change you or change another player, that 100% messes with your head. It messes with your confidence. You become resigned to doing what the coach wants. And what the coach would want there is for her to pass the ball to AB. That is what we have seen from this team. We all know we could see it on the sideline, just like we saw with Chrissy Sides at moments last year. Steph White was not happy for that first half in New York. She was not happy with the up tempo. She was not happy with Caitlin Clark and those threes. All those threes that get everyone else excited, that gets the team fired up, that leads you to victory, that puts butts in the seats, that gets ratings on TV. Steph White wanted none of it. And that's why Caitlin Clark had 25 points in the first half and 7 points in the second half. Caitlin Clark's been punished ever since. And the fire, I mean, you can see the fire has gone out. Just think back to the Connecticut game and how fired up she was, and the trash talking with J.C. Sheldon, and then hitting after the incidents, hitting that big time three over J.C. Sheldon, and yapping at the Connecticut Sun coach, and all of that is gone. Did we see any of that in the Valkyries game? Any of that in the Aces game? Any arguing with officials? Any firing up the crowd? Any trash talking? None of it. I see a tired, dejected, and yeah, I think also sick, but tired, dejected, frustrated Caitlin Clark, resigned to doing what Stephanie White has wants her to do. Resigned to say, "Hey, we're going to walk it down slowly." And if you go through film, and I've gone through film like last year, I've talked before about the Phoenix Suns and uh, you know, shooting at least, in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock. And last year, post break, the Indiana Fever did that a lot. Now it's walk it down, run the play, don't try to do anything else, pass the ball into the paint, possibly get shot clock violations. Kelsey Mitchell's not even the same, right? Like this isn't even just Caitlin Clark, it's just mostly Caitlin Clark. And as a player, I tell you, you absolutely get tired of listening to all the nonsense from the coaches. And you just say, yeah, you know what? Fine. I'm going to do it your way. We'll see how it goes. It's going to suck, but we'll do it. And that's why the fire is out. And you get Steph White, like after the last game, talking about, oh, her shot's going to be fine. We just need to get her better looks. You've done nothing to get her better looks. You don't even try to get her better looks. That is just Stephanie White, again, talking like a coach, spewing nonsense, gaslighting everyone. It just means that we don't want her taking those shots. So we're not going to do anything to get it. And eventually, if she keeps chucking them up and shoots this poorly, then we have a reason to say, you can't do that anymore. And I'm paraphrasing here because I cannot find a video now of the clip. But Caitlin Clark also has basically said, we did all the things that the coach wanted us to do. I mean, I think that's about as much of a call out of a coach as you will ever get from Caitlin Clark. Everyone knows that the offense looked like absolute crap. And she said, yeah, well, we did what the coach wanted. I think that everything is really starting to get to Caitlin Clark. I think this idealization that she had as a league as a young girl, it's finally that bubble is kind of being burst, and I think she's seeing the league for what it is, and that these players hate her. The league hates her. It doesn't want her to succeed. And she's realized in the Connecticut game, it opened up her eyes too, that she basically has Lexi and Sophie have her back, maybe Dantas, and that's about it. She has got teammates that don't like her, teammates that will want to use her to get their points and to get maybe other endorsements they wouldn't otherwise get, but they don't like her. And Caitlin Clark is starting to realize that, I think. And it's getting to her now. She is only a 23-year-old girl. From all indications, from all us, is just absolutely the nicest person in the world who wants to do everything to uplift the entire WNBA. And we see what she gets for that. And I think, unfortunately, she's getting part of that from the coach as well. I mean, the hate is absolutely insane. The abuse has got to be crushing Caitlin Clark's spirits at this point. I mean, that's what I think it is. And so, now she's got to be this good girl. She's got to limit herself. She's got to diminish herself to appease all these whack jobs, all these evil bitchs, man. This league that she loved as a child is not what she thought it was. It is a complete sham, and they're going to do everything they can to break her. And the roster is crap. So, I mean, last year, yeah, we had Melissa Smith and her brother and Dejanay. This year, we've got Natasha Howard and her sister and wife. We've got Sydney Colson. We've got Bree Turner. And you're telling me this is going to be protecting the locker room? The FO completely I have to say they misfired on all these signings and have no idea what they're doing, because if they did it on purpose, man, I don't even want to think of that. You've got Caitlin Clark trying to appease the ego of a coach who has never won anything, a coach who has never been successful. All right. Stephanie White has never been successful. She took two great teams, stayed there for a couple of years, and didn't make them better, and was absolutely horrifically bad in 6 years at Vanderbilt. Okay. And now you've got Caitlin Clark is tentative. She's double thinking everything. She's just constantly feeding Aaliyah Boston, and that is not going to win them games. That is not going to get them into the playoffs. And again, like I said, that's the whole point. It's not even just Caitlin Clark. Where was Kelsey Mitchell? I mean, she kind of took it upon herself in the later stages of that game, which is also to this where, if I can find it, I'm always to this point, right? Like someone says, where was this? Um, right, like where was this Caitlin Clark? I'll tell you where. I'll tell you exactly where. Minute four left. They're losing this game. That's when desperation mode kicks in, and you're like, oh well, Caitlin Clark is just going to go do what she's going to do, because everything goes out at the window at that point, right? Because you're in desperation mode trying to get back into the game. And but that's what we need from Caitlin Clark all of the time. Man, these fans want that's not what they want to watch. They don't want to watch Caitlin Clark walk the ball up and be a passive player and just give the ball to AB. It's just not going to work. The front office has got to make a decision at some point. Stephanie White or Caitlin Clark. You can't have both. And I promise you, if this season doesn't get better, even though it's only 2 years in, well, we'll see what the new CBA does as well. Caitlin Clark is not going to want to stay in Indiana, I don't believe. And Indiana, you can say all you want about embracing that great marketing campaign you had at the beginning, but they're not going to stick around for you. I'm sorry. They're Caitlin Clark fans. They're going to leave the Indiana Fever if Caitlin Clark leaves the Indiana Fever. So you better figure it out. You better figure it out. Running it back to a decade ago when the Fever had some success with old school WNBA activists is not the way to go. But this is what's missing. This is what Caitlin Clark fans want to see, folks. This is part of what make now there's some AI in that shove wasn't as bad. But this everyone knows this is who she is, and this is what they love about her, and this is what helps allow her to play the way that she plays. She is a fiery, passionate, competitive player. And if you take that away from her, she's not going to be as good. If you try and put her in the system as White is doing, she's not going to be a good, right? None of this, we saw a lot of this actually in the game against the Connecticut Sun, right? But we didn't see any of this against Golden State. We didn't see any of this against the Las Vegas Aces. And that is a problem for the Indiana Fever. But hopefully she gets that fire back. Hopefully Stephanie White figures it out and says, you know what? I can't keep doing it like this. It doesn't work. And changes get made. But look, they're what? They're 6-7. Is that right? 6-7. Yeah, so they've got to go 20-11 the rest of the way just to win 26 games. I don't know that this team is going to get a first round home court advantage series, and they need that. They need to be a top 4 seed if they're going to make a run at a championship. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, appreciate you checking out this video. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.